John Beaudin, Rock History Music. How are you, everybody? I haven't done a lot of live stuff because of, it's on this side. Because I got a Austin Powers, remember? Mole, 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 mole. I had a mole that just kept growing, and it looks like I've been in a bar fight. I have not been in a bar fight. I don't think I've ever been in a bar fight now that I think of it, but it doesn't look pretty. Before we start, a few years ago, I interviewed a side player with Journey. Travis Thibodeaux. Oh, I got to turn off my my inbox. Travis was a really good guy. He was a piano player and a vocalist with Journey, right beside Arnel Pineda. And we did an interview, a really nice interview. I've never really said this out loud before, but the first in the series of the video was basically, there's a lot of drama in Journey. Did you experience any drama in Journey while you were with them traveling on the road? And he said the answer to the question was, no, actually everyone got along really well. It was great, blah, blah, blah. And then shortly after the video was up, and his connection with Journey was Jonathan Cain. That's how he got into the band. So, and a lot of you probably remember Travis Thibodeaux, really nice guy. So shortly after the video got up, and I can understand by the title, it was a little sensationalist. And I said, who told you to take it down? He says, John, I can't tell you that. And I assumed it was Jonathan Cain. I don't know if it was. But anyway, I'm just saying that. So I had to take the video down. But now Travis hasn't played with Journey for quite a few years, and I should put that video up. Travis is a really nice guy, an amazing singer. Look up Travis Thibodeaux, Journey. And he sang a couple of songs with them just to give Arnel Pineda a rest. So anyway, I got a lot of comments here. So first of all, I will say that I took this off Ultimate Classic Rock. To me, Ultimate Classic Rock is one of my favorite sites because there's not a lot of bull crap on their site. They kind of stick to it. And that's why I like them. They've quoted me before, and I will quote them today. After I finish this, I'm looking at my monitors. I look like I got into a bad bar fight. But look at, you can actually still see the stitches over here. And there's stitches over here. I know, you should see the other guy. I'll get your comments in a second. Neal Schon is suing Jonathan Cain, claiming he improperly restricted access to financial documents related to Journey's American Express card, which, by the way, Neal Schon knew nothing about. And I did, when I interviewed Jonathan Cain, he kept trying to get political because his wife was Trump's, I'm not getting political here, Trump's spiritual advisor. And I told him throughout the interview, I said, I just don't want to get, you know what, I don't get political on my, you know, I didn't want him to make it a soapbox about his politics. And he was respectful, but every now and then he'd bring it back a little bit. So there you go. Anyway, this is what Ultimate Classic Rock, again, it's it's their first story. I don't have the link right here. It's their first story on their website. This action is brought to turn the light, so to speak, to obtain critical financial information Schon has been trying to obtain, but has been denied. Schon's lawyers argued in court documents files in Northern California, Contra Costa County. Cain and Schon established a limited liability corporation called Nomota in 1998 to handle Journey's business dealings, and their share is 50-50. According to the court documents, Cain later set up Nomota's American Express account without Neal Schon knowing. Now, you know, you kind of wonder about that. The filing says Schon has tried to avoid legal action repeatedly, requesting that Cain grant him access to the Amex account. For many months, Cain and his representatives have represented that Cain would be granted access, but every time Schon contacted Amex, they informed him that he still has not been authorized to have access to the account. His lawyers further assert that Schon must be unfettered access to Nomota's records so that he can oversee and manage the Nomota Journey account. The Amex account is a Journey account, not a personal account of Cain. So, I don't know, man. And again, Jonathan Cain is the only guy that I've ever interviewed who kept getting political during the interview. Eamon O'Neill from Eon Music. A lot of you know Eamon O'Neill is a good guy. He has encountered a lot of this, and I keep going. I don't know why but he's got more colorful characters on his Eamon O'Neill. Eamon's just a great guy, just a great guy. So, of course, there's been lawsuits. There's been, like, Steve Perry took legal action earlier this year after Cain and Schon submitted trademark registration for 20 Journey songs. Ross Valerie and Steve Smith were fired in 2020 after Cain and Schon accused them of an ill-conceived corporate coup d'etat. There you go. So before you go nuts, I got a mole removed, then they removed another thing. I can't even this my monitor is backwards, so I can't even tell. There you go. Let's see what everyone says. Sorry I got on here late. I had to go pick up something, and we have work being done in our house, and we're just trying to get it up to snuff. And anyway, Transparent Media. Next album should be titled Egolution. Davida Williams. Hey, Davida. Nice to have you on here. Transparent Media Truth. Transparent Media Truth. Davida Williams. Seriously, though, if John is at fault, then Neal did what he had to do. I agree. Well, from what we see here, and this is just one side, from what we see here, it's a little fishy. And all I can say about Jonathan Cain, when I interviewed him, he was very pleasant. He's a very nice guy to talk to, knows how to tell a good story, but kept wanting to make it political. Kept wanting to make this interview sort of and that's the only thing I had. But other than that, I really enjoy talking to him, right? I asked him, I don't lean his way politically, but I want it to be fair. I asked him, I said, well, his wife, Paula White, I said, well, she must be in a sort of precarious situation, being the spiritual advisor of the current president. And he said, yes, it was difficult for her. He told me how he met her on a plane. It was a really nice chat. And that's usually how I talk to people, whether they are on my side politically or not. No name calling or nothing. I thought he was quite pleasant. So, George Berry, I am not there in Journey, but from my view, life is short for this nonsense. Yes, well said. If Schon and others had put the music first, I sincerely think it would be better. Transparent Media Truth. It's just hard to have empathy for artists who are more than comfortable and set for this life, few others. Wonder exactly how much this is over. It could be the straw that broke the camel's back. Sometimes lawsuits can be like that way. George Berry, transparent, I agree. I am a musician 35 years. These ego fests are beyond absurd. Journey has had its fair share. Remember, there was a CNN report which had me on it. I wasn't a guest. They were just using a part of me and some other podcaster who I don't really follow at all. When Journey seemed like they were breaking up at the time because of the White House visit. So, Alex Knight, get better soon. Thank you. I'm not in any pain. It's just that I had a year and a half ago, I had a mole removed by, the frozen ice thing or whatever it's called. Dry, I don't know what it's called. But anyway, my doctor did that. He says, it might grow back. And it grew back with a vengeance. And once, I was going to get it removed anyway, but once someone said, what the hell is that above your eye? And now I'm having to deal with, it's backwards. I'm looking at my monitor, it's backwards. George Berry, there's no end to greed. Neutral 69 Journey is the best band. They're such a great band. And Jonathan Cain and Neal Schon are very incredible musicians. But M. Moses, Journey is the most drama-filled band of all time. It's crazy how it's almost like no matter what happens, someone's going to come out and remember the Ross Valerie, Steve Smith thing. They'll never be back in the band. Steve Perry taking legal action when Kane and Schon submitted trademarks for 20 of their songs. Why? Why would you do that? And even for my hold on, let me see. Even for my when I interviewed Travis Thibodeaux, I asked him, "Did you deal with any drama in Journey?" I might have been in the bad books, or I'm sure I was in the bad books. Or they didn't listen to the video because everyone knows there's a lot of drama in Journey. It's ridiculous. But anyway, let me just put my monitor up. This is really low. Oh, I'm hearing myself. That's not what I wanted to do. Anyway, Roger R. They have their 50th anniversary tour next year to support with in support with Toto support. Let's hope they sort things out. Rick Dendel, Journey is trying to take the most dysfunctional band title from Fleetwood Mac. Well said. Well said. Good comment. George Berry, hey Jonathan, thou shalt not lie. Message retracted. Michelle Therese, it will heal. You look great. Thank you. And Moses, Paula White. Yes, Paula White. That's her name. WNP 67. Again, I don't want to make this political, but it got political with the White House visit, and I don't know if I was supporting a candidate, unless it was out of the rules of the band to do that. I didn't have a problem with Jonathan Cain going to the White House. I didn't have a problem. Again, I don't lean that way, but I have a lot of friends who are Republicans. You know, I get along with most people. I've interviewed many people who are Republicans, and I get along with them. It's fine. I tell them we're not a political, but when that happened, I made a report on it and didn't make it political and just basically said, well, Neal Schon had a problem with Arnel Pineda and Jonathan Cain, and I'm not sure who else was there, going to the White House. I'm going, well, I can see why that would happen. George Berry, hey, Jonathan, thou shalt not steal. Neutral 69, Neal Schon has problems. He fired Steve Perry. Yeah, but we don't know the whole truth, but from what we are hearing here, it's not both sides, but so far from what we're hearing, again, not both sides, something fishy is going on. Okay, George Berry, wow, sketchy people. I'm not going to say that word. I'm not saying that. I'm not getting, that's as political as I'm going to get. Transparent Media. What's Cain hiding? Using a Journey card for projects outside Journey treatment? We don't know though, right? Kevin Brown, this is getting ridiculous. Notice I didn't report on the Steve Perry thing. Now, I used to make, I used to make a pretty good living just only reporting stories like this out of Journey, and other people started doing it, and they just took the reins. I'm going, you guys report on that stuff. That's fine. And there was a part of me, I was just knee deep in I don't know if it was Lou Graham, and that was a lot of Journey and a lot of drama in that. But there was a point in my even the Hart interview right now with the former members. There's so much drama in it, but that's what happens in bands, and there's a lot of people, there's a lot of people involved. But I'll report those things. Someone's asked me a question, and I ask them a question, and they'll answer it, and I'll put it up. And I always say, Ann Wilson, or when I interviewed Travis Thibodeaux on the Journey backup band, Neal Schon, Jonathan Cain, feel free, because Jonathan's been on our channel. I've interviewed him. But some people have thin skin, and it's hard sometimes doing a channel like this without being a somewhat salacious. When I did the band Journey breaking up, and CNN's Jeannie Most picked it up. She picked up a clip of me saying that. But you're going to get that. I mean, it's rock and roll. It gets that way. M. Moses, I'm going to put this down because you keep hearing boop. Okay. You can tell when it's juicy. You always have over 100 people. By the way, like our video if you can. In spite of the fact that the host looked like he got into a bar fight and it didn't turn out very good for him. It's just a mole and a little thing that I got removed. Transparent Media. Wouldn't it be poetic if Arnel ended up controlling it all? I don't think that's going to happen, but it'd be funny. Kevin Brown, on the other hand, Steve's working with Dolly. Yes, that's true. Steve Perry. James Morrow, CJ James. What? Neal and Jonathan were supposed to be on the same page. Well, they haven't been. Politically, they're in very different positions. But I've got a lot of friends, don't you? I have a lot of friends who politically we believe in different things, but politically, it's hard to come to a place in the middle a lot of the times, especially in these days in this political market. So I tell my friends, I'm not going to talk about politics. I have one friend, he was my best friend in the world. He couldn't help himself. I had to let him go. I said, listen, if you think politics is the only thing we can talk about, we met each other in grade 7. Seriously. But he couldn't do it. So I had to let him go for a while. I'm sure we'll be friends again someday, but KSOP, Cain is a big, I'm not going to mention that guy's name. And Moses, wow, I notice you're Shiner, John. You're too old to be dropping the gloves. I don't remember the last time, I don't know, off topic, I don't remember the last time I got into a physical fight with someone. It wasn't in my adult life. I don't think. I don't know. And I'd be really bad at it. So, Transparent Media Truth. Hey, I just heard Daryl Hall and John Oates aren't on the same page and haven't been for years. Mayor podcast. I heard that too. Neutral 69. What do you think about the replacements for Steve Perry and Lou Gramm? Well, Arnel Pineda is a great singer. They're just stretching him too thin, right? And we were talking about Travis Thibodeaux a while ago that I interviewed, and the interview has never seen the light of day because Travis asked me, and I can say this now. Travis said, "Can you take the interview down?" And I'm not sure. I've still got the email someplace where he kind of insinuated that if I didn't take it down, his job might be in jeopardy with Journey, and I can understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. He thought he could talk to me as a sideman for Journey and as a backup vocalist and a keyboard player for Journey. He thought it would be okay. He said, "Oh, what the heck?" We did it. The first clip was about, there's been a lot of drama on Journey. Have you noticed any? Now, not the best first clip to put out. I have to admit, that was a faux pas of mine. I wasn't thinking. There's nothing in it because he basically says, no, there isn't. We get along really well. Everything's fine. But that's the title of the video, and the title gets hits. You gotta, people always say clickbait. Clickbait is when you have something, you go into it, and it doesn't answer the question. Whenever I do that, I make sure that we address what the title of the video is. Okay, can't get political, guys. Yeah, bring back Greg, JB Baker. Brandy Harbaugh. More drama, Fleetwood Mac in Journey. I have a Fix-It guy in my house right now, doing stuff to my house right now. And Fix-It guys make noise. And so Shannon's up there basically telling him what to do. Oh, Transparent Media Truth. Man, you are on. Next tour, litigation solicitation. But he's right there. He's right above me. He's right above me. He happens to be right above me doing this stuff. There you go. George K. What a sad and pathetic way to ruin music. These guys need to realize how short life is. Your word is more important than money. Well said. Well, very, very well said. By the way, someone mentioned you need to shave. You get this. Don't get mad at people when they say stuff like that. But because of this, I haven't put water in my face. It's just a healing. See, when I look at this, my monitor is backwards. By the way, that's my high school bedroom wall, which is still at my mother's house behind me. That's black light paint. And there you go. For people who are just getting on, basically Jonathan Cain seems like he has started an American Express account under Journey's name, but Neal Schon doesn't have access to it. And Neal Schon says he's tried over and over again to get access. It's not been working. He contacts American Express. He doesn't know what's there. So now he's going after Jonathan Cain saying, hey, what's going on? He says he's tried to be patient. So there you have it. These guys, I tell you, man. Let's see what you got to say. Zenyatta Fan 1. That's a silly comment, Alfredo. What's Alfredo say? I can't find it. Okay, Kevin Collins. Sean's Journey Through Time project with Greg Raleigh was great. I would have been happy if that continued. and recruit Arnell for that. Alfredo Sosa. They've just turned themselves into glorified cover band. I've heard cover bands that are better than these guys. Transparent Media Truth. Agreed, Kevin Collins. Roger R. Stick to the solo artist bands are always falling out. Zenyatta fans. Oh, that's what you said about Alfredo, right? Dean Castronova is the second best singer Journey ever had, in my opinion. He's an amazing singer. Wasn't everyone surprised when we heard him sing like Steve Perry? We went, what? What the hell? I don't know why. Has he been singing like that for years? I've been following Journey for a lot of years, but I didn't know he could sing at that level. No, he can't sing like Steve Perry, but Steve Journey. But Steve Perry can't sing like that either anymore. He's just an octave down. Okay, you guys talk to each other. Let me go up. Journey or Toto? Christian. I was always a bigger Toto fan than a Journey fan. I had all Toto's albums, and I had maybe 4 Journey albums. Yeah. I mean, Escape was maybe the 3rd Journey album I bought, or maybe the 2nd. Don't get me wrong, I always liked Steve Perry. Steve Perry and Neal Schon were always my 2 favorite. And I liked when Jonathan Cain came on because his keyboard and his songwriting chops were amazing. He was a great addition to the band. But I don't know why people stray on this level. I don't know why these kind of things happen. So many band members, and guys, you know this, so many band members, and you're not going to be surprised by this, said everything was good till the money got involved, till we started making a lot of money. Can you hear a guy named Keith here? When a lot of money gets involved in any band, things just get so incredibly complicated. And people say, well, you heard my interview with Lou Gramm where he says he should have got a piece or a bigger piece of I Want to Know What Love Is. And they made a lot of money on that song. You get skewed. Some people were saying, hey, well, Lou Gramm, if you didn't write the song, you shouldn't get that credit just because you sang the song. And other people will go, well, we don't know that. We don't know if that's true. It's a he said, she said thing, like crazy. Remember, I put on a video of why Randy Meisner quit Poco before joining the Eagles. And I had Jim Messina on there, who was in Poco. I had Richie Furay, who was in Poco, leader of the band, and Randy Meisner. And each version of what happened or why Randy Meisner left the band was slightly different, sometimes very different. Richie Furay is one of those guys who's kind of come full circle. He's not trying to rewrite the past as much as you'd expect a guy to do. He's basically saying, well, I could have done, he kind of feathers it a little bit and says, well, I could have done things a little different, And I accept that kind of explanation for maybe him being a little heavy-handed when Poco recorded their first album. If that's what happened, So you get a he said, she said. Oh, Kevin Collins, thank you. You said my name, so I got to pay you. And that only works once, so sorry. Kevin Collins, no, I'm just joking. Thank you. That's very kind of you. There was one month where we were raising, a couple of months, we were raising money for a new computer. We didn't get a computer. We refurbished this one. Bigger hard drive, more memory. And, but there was one month where basically I had COVID for 2 weeks and I really couldn't do a lot. And I do work ahead a lot of the times. I do try to work ahead, which I do all the time now because of our Patreon account. If you want to join Patreon, join her. You get early access to all the Heart videos. I'm putting a few more up tonight. But it was really nice. A lot of you just came forward and said, we're not a paycheck to paycheck family and haven't been in a long time. And I always tell people, don't donate to our channel unless you can, unless you're having happy days. But it was nice when I got COVID. A lot of people, just said, go to it, have fun. Go buy a new car. No, they didn't give me that kind of money. It was really nice. Interestingly, we always get more donations when Shannon's on with me, my wife, because she's pretty and I look like a boot next to her. So there you go. So thanks, Gavin. Nice. Hi, Keith. Neutral 69. Does Neal Schon not realize that he is ruining Journey? Steve Perry left. Yeah, but if this lawsuit is correct, it wouldn't be him necessarily ruining it. But we don't know because we haven't heard the other side of it, right? It looks very suspicious towards Jonathan Cain. But it doesn't mean it is because we don't have all the information. That's what lawsuits are for. You know, there's discovery. You find out what the other guy's got. Mr. Cain has his wife's money too. That's true, but that has nothing to do with what really happened here, right? George Berry. Ever been into, let me put it this way. It doesn't matter who's got what in their pot, but have you ever been involved, any of you listening, with inheritance, where I've had a lot of friends going through this because I'm 62 and I have a lot of friends who are losing their parents. Just as an off story, which is kind of connected to this. So when people say, well, he has this money or that money, it has nothing to do with this. You don't steal money, if he did. But you'll get the most successful person in the family, and then you'll get the least successful person in the family telling the spouse who's writing the will, oh, don't give any to X, Y, and Z over here because they don't need any money. Like actually penalizing them because they've been successful. I've never been a big fan of that kind of thinking of going, that person doesn't need money, even though we've both had the time to go out there and be successful or do whatever we want. And that happens sometimes going, well, why would you do that? Because it's as an off story. And everyone deals with that, going, oh, don't give that person any money. They don't need it. Well, you just separate it evenly. That's the way it goes. Oh, Teresa, you're right. Money is the root of all evil. M. Moses, True Transparent Media. I saw an interview recently where David Page, Steve Lukather were having the loveliest, they still adore each other. I'm talking to David Page again he wasn't doing interviews, but he agreed to do another one with me in December, after Thanksgiving into December. Weren't they both in bad English? Yep. WPN 67, Teddy Bates. Love of money is, yeah. JC, in my opinion, Journey has been a silly mess since the 90s. Well, I know that Neal Schon goes into social media a lot. You know, if I knew Neal, I've never interviewed him. I've only interviewed Jonathan Cain and Travis Thibodeaux, their touring keyboard player and vocalist. I would say get off social media and don't worry about it. I mean, I don't get a lot of bad press, luckily, but I don't go after it either. Some of the headlines are a little salacious, but they have to be because the subject is. But I would say get off of it. You know, when people say, oh, do you hear what that person said about you? And I'm going, well, if it's, you know, remember someone said you look like a cross between Robert Downey Jr., Steve Buscemi, and Patton Oswalt. That was funny, though. And I kind of looked at my face. I went, I kind of see that. I don't know. I'm an older boot now. I'm not a young guy anymore. So I kind of looked at that and said, oh, my God, why'd you leave that comment on? I'm going, I'm not going to take it down. It's actually quite funny, right? You got to be able to laugh at yourself a little bit. Some rock stars who go into social media take it very, very seriously. But right now, to get back to the original thing, I'm going to paraphrase it, which I shouldn't do because it's legal. Jonathan Cain set up a separate American Express account, which Neal Schon should have access to, which they promised Neal Schon he would have access to. That didn't turn out. Tortor Porco, thank you. Here's to the guy who looks like a boot, but better. Thank you. It doesn't hurt at all anymore. And really, the procedure at the hospital to take the mole out was very, very quick. I couldn't feel anything. It was like a few stitches here and a few stitches there. A few needles here and a few needles over here. And the stitches I couldn't feel, but there was the needles, of course, right? People say, did you remove the mole because you're on YouTube? Partially, but I would have done it anyway, right? So there you go. So let me see. So Toro Porco, thank you. Zuma Dog. So we are to assume Jonathan Cain is using the Journey credit card for personal use and trying to hide it from Neal. It doesn't make any sense, though. If that's what he's doing, how could he see it? So there's got to be more. Jonathan Cain's a lot of things. He's not stupid. Would Cain really be that shady? You would assume Cain has enough money. That's the thing, though. Again, getting back to the inheritance thing, you go, if you have a lot of money, does that mean you've become honest all of a sudden? I'm not saying he did it, but I'm going. Neal Schon is insinuating something funny's going on. So I don't think honesty has anything to do with how much money you have. Unfortunately, does anyone really think they ever have enough? Very few people ever think they have enough. And sometimes having more makes you want more. We've all been in that situation. You know, I used to have this. This is not about religion. But my sister-in-law, she's not my sister-in-law anymore. She's my ex-wife's sister. She became Mormon. And it was like, oh my God, everyone in the family just went, oh my God, she's Mormon. Oh my God, we're all going to die. You know, and I'm going, I've read about Mormonism as well as other religions. But there was this financial book that she bought that a Mormon wrote. And my wife at the time was saying, "Oh, you don't want to read that." So I'm just because it's not like I'm not going to write a financial book from a Catholic or, a Buddhist. I mean, if it's interesting, it sounds interesting to me. So I read it, and it basically said you have to be accountable for every cent you write. That was the formula. It was a red book, I remember. So I took a checkbook and made it every time I pay, not for checks, but every time I would spend money, I would put it down. So I keep track of exactly. It was arduous to do this, but exactly how much money I was spending. And I thought it was like a really, really cool book. But all my friends were going, "Oh, don't read that book." I'm going, well, what? I have friends who are Mormons. I have friends who are Pentecostal. I dated a girl in high school who was Pentecostal. I didn't turn into something I wasn't supposed to. It's interesting meeting people from different religions. It's different if they're trying to convert you. So I didn't condemn Jonathan Cain for being married to Paula White. Is it Paula White? And I just went, it doesn't concern me. He's married to whoever he wants. He was attracted to her right away. And then they ran into each other. I think I'm paraphrasing. I think he told me they sat beside each other and they talked. And I think they might have been married at the time. Oh, I hate doing this. Bad memory. But then they ran into each other again and all of a sudden it worked out. So good for them. A lot of people don't like her. I can understand if you're leaning politically the other way. Itchy. When you have, it looks even worse when I lift up my eye like that. Okay, sorry, I'm moving ahead. Won't say the name, John. Okay, yeah. I don't think, I hope he's not doing it. James Bashir's, hey, James, greetings from Dogtown Road, John. Hope everything is doing well. Well, you should see the other guy. No, it's just a mole. It was a mole and a weird growth on the other side, which no one really saw. But the doctor said, "Well, I'll take that off for no money." I went, okay, that's fine. That's what she does. If she gets remove something, she'll always look for something else, and that's why I haven't shaved. Look, I look like a bum. I look like a bum. Teddy Bates says, now we know why Perry stayed away. When I talk to Trev Lukather, and I'm talking to him next week or maybe later this week, who's Steve Lukather, Luke's son. He looks at Steve Perry as almost a second father. They have an incredible relationship. Shared a lot of stories about Steve Perry. And he just made it seem like Steve, I mean, it's his friend. So, you become a homer. It's like, I always use this example. It's like all Elton John fans love Nigel Olsson for drummers. A lot of them do. I mean, the majority of them, and Nigel's a great drummer. He's not my favorite drummer, but he's a great drummer and he was perfect for Elton John. His fills, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, that's such a simple, beautiful fill. I wouldn't have changed that. But he's just an amazing drummer. But he's also the drummer that the idea for Nigel Olsson is less is more. So you always look at, if you like Journey during Steve Perry's era, you're going to like probably Steve Perry an awful lot, right? But Trev told me some really nice things about Steve Perry. The fact that he didn't like drama, but he didn't suffer fools either. And I'm not saying Jonathan Cain or Neal Schon are fools, but he pays attention. That's just one opinion from Trev Lukather. And come on, guys. There's been way too much drama in this band. It's ridiculous. It is. Why do you think so many people tonight are saying, are comparing them to Fleetwood Mac? It's crazy. Does it have to be that way? I mean, it's chemistry, man. You get two people together sometimes. My ex-wife and I fought all the time. My ex-wife's a wonderful woman. I think she's one of my best friends. We just shouldn't be married. Sometimes for certain people, my current wife, Shannon, loves Lynn. Get along really well. But I just finished telling my ex-wife the other day, we were talking. I'm going, I really appreciate our friendship. I really, really do. And I really heartfelt felt it. I could tell by her response, she felt the same way. We just shouldn't be married. Sometimes bandmates are like that. Sometimes the chemistry just doesn't work. Sometimes money gets involved. Sometimes our old rockers are looking at the future, the end of the road, going, do I have enough money to live this lifestyle? Steve Porcaro told me of Toto. He said, why do artists, and he's quit touring, so why do musicians tour? To keep their stuff. He says, sometimes it's as plain as we just want to keep our stuff. They're looking at, the end date. Some artists continue touring because they just enjoy it. Some artists just can't stop. They need the adrenaline. They just continue doing it. Pete Agnew, we've had him on the show 3 times, of Nazareth. We just lost, he's the last guy standing, right? But he says he just loves to do it. Whether he's totally telling the truth or he's financially needing to do it, he seems like he's having a good time out there. Dan McCafferty just passed away, and he had to quit. He has COPD and smoked for a lot of years. Used to bring on some Jack Daniels on stage with him. Lived the rock star life, but just had to quit. But some people continue touring because they like the money and or need the money to continue in the type of lifestyle they have. Does that corrupt some people? Maybe. Maybe that's the case in this area. Maybe. Who knows? I mean, already Steve Perry, when he took legal action against Cain and Schon, when they were trying to trademark 20 Journey songs, that didn't sound right. But again, I don't have all the information, and neither do you. And we'll find out. And sometimes court cases through loopholes, the wrong one wins. That always happens. I watch way too many crime shows. So we'll see what happens. M. Moses, but rich grown men constantly lawsuits is ridiculous. It is. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Trevor will have a new father-in-law with Jonathan Cain. Trev's a really level-headed guy, but unfortunately he's in this nest of political stuff. And I try not to get political with people because it's not just because it alienates half your audience. Now and then you have to take a stand. Sure. But do people come to rock history music for that? Do you really? You can't pretend if there's a pink elephant in the room, we're not going to pretend it's not there. But in that case, you say that person said that and that person said that. So there's to go back. It looks like a paraphrasing, which it's not a good idea always to concerning legal actions. But looks like Jonathan Cain took out an American Express card under the Journey company, which Neal Schon doesn't have access to. And Neal's going, I've tried to be patient here. How come I don't have access to it? What's this being used for? So that's what's going down. I hope they can iron it out. I mean, they've got a tour with Toto coming up, another tour. So they got to work this out. There's too much money at stake for them not to work it out. There you go. I haphazardly came upon that. Zuma Dog, I didn't know that Hall & Oates don't like each other. Well, there's always been that rumor that they're not the closest. Jeff Seal. Notice how Neal is always the leak about connections with Perry just before some new drama happens. Makes him look like a good guy and Perry look like a bad guy. George Berry. There are about 7 aspects to any copyright, so until we get details, again, we have to. We can only say what the reporting. And by the way, I'm getting this from, I got to give them a plug again, Ultimate Classic Rock, because I tend to like their writers an awful lot because they're very succinct. They don't go off into long diatribes. Ultimate Classic Rock to me is one of the best sites of any site that does this sort of thing. And before I used to take a story and rewrite it, but now I come on live. Because one day someone says, why don't you come on live? Because that's what you do on the radio. You've been doing it for 40 years. Well, I haven't been on live for 40 years. I've been on radio for 40 years. But I started realizing, oh yeah, why am I writing this out? By the time I get it finished, read it in front of a teleprompter or whatever, or ad lib around it because I don't use a teleprompter. Used to. And it's the stories everyone else has reported on it. John Adams, it's too bad they're fighting. They had great... They make great, that's important thing. Fighting, they make great, that's important. Okay. Spelling mistake. Well, Warner Design. Chris Snodgrass, you know that Henley said about the TV evangelist, Little Tin God. Yeah. Joseph Frieza. I was just wondering about Hall & Oates. As far as Journey thing goes, something's rotten in Denmark. Cecilia, Schon is always a common denominator. Things that make you go, Yeah, but if that, okay, you got, it could be. Let's just say what he's saying is true. We don't know. But if what he's saying is true, something fishy's going on. But we don't know that because we haven't heard the other side. That's his side of the story. You know, you'd never want to make a decision on a court battle, on a divorce, for instance. This is not a divorce. Listening to one side of the story. Whoa! You know, it could be the crazy side. But in divorces, there's always a little crazy on each side. And in these things, there's always a little, overreacting on each side. Zuma Dog. Steve Perry quit Journey because the management kept booking too many gigs and his voice was shot. At the point, Steve Perry's voice is not up to par to sing in Journey. Yeah, he can't, he's an octave down or two. Wintertime. I think this is just Neal's way to get Jonathan to take his request seriously. It could be. Yeah. Transparent Media. Requesting Hall & Oates. Bill Meyer podcast from last month. Sorry, John. Richard Smith. You're a boo-boo. You look like yours didn't go well. That's just I just got a mole removed. And then the plastic surgeon said, do you want this other thing removed beside it? I'll do that for free. And I went, sure. Because there's sagging skin, which we all have as we get older, you really couldn't see the other one. But I said, oh, it's free, sure. But the mole was quite pronounced if you see videos from a few weeks ago. Sometimes you can't see it because I have a lot of lights around me. And I need that for the green screen. If you don't have a lot of lights with the green screen, you have a green halo around you. And notice I do not have a green halo. I just have weird looking hair today. Oh my God, Teddy Bates' Journey makes the Eagles look like the Waltons. You win. You win tonight. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God. That was the best line. Thank you, Teddy. You beat a man. Brian Berthume. I hope that's how you say it because I went to school with a guy who had that last name and that's how he pronounced it. Let's just be honest, Neal Schon. Warner Design. Unfortunately, I had a bad run-in with Trev once. Usually he is just a happy guy. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was having a bad moment. Okay. What happened? Are you talking to Warner Designs or me? Everyone's asking. It's just a wart and another thing that the doctor got. Jim B. Lawsuits always taint the music. It's true. And those musicians involved. Schon will seek an injunction against Cain and dissolve the partnership. Politically, they're so different. I don't know how they get along. I mentioned this before. I had my friend I've known since grade 7. I told him, I said, politically, we're very different. But guess what? I don't talk about politics an awful lot. That's what it is. And I don't with my friends. And I judge people by if they're decent human beings. And that's it. And I told my friend since grade 7, let's not talk politics and we're going to get along. Right? But he couldn't help himself. He just you know what? I went, listen, you're allowed to believe that, but I'm not going to have these conversations with you because, because you just want to argue all the time. So he couldn't help himself. So that dissolves relationships. Oh no. Hannistown, Bill Moyer, Bowers. Saw Hall on Mayor. Bill called out Oates, the other guy. We don't know his name. Oh, no, he didn't do that. That's just disrespectful, though. That's really disrespectful. James Bashirs. That was good, Teddy. Joseph Friesa. When I keep seeing reports of the drama like this, I just want to grab my popcorn and sit back and watch the fights. Alfredo Sosa. That was funny, Teddy. Hold on a second. Let me. God, Teddy, that was a great comment. Really good comment. Oh, Bob says, aren't these guys too old for BS? Joseph Friesa, him and his pay-per-view wife. The comment wins right there. I'm not sure why people, neutral 16, I don't know why people are judging from what we know, not old stories. Well, you got to account old stories. But if let's just say this is true. We haven't heard the other side. Why doesn't he have access to this American Express account? Why doesn't Neal Schon have access to this American Express account? Could this be in retaliation of something else from the other side? Could be anything, right? So we don't know. But this band has had so much drama. That's how I got onto CNN. Jeannie Most put me on CNN for 3 seconds or 5 seconds. I was walking on the beach in Penticton, British Columbia. With a wireless microphone saying, is Journey breaking up? And she used that clip. And this other guy who I don't really want to quote. Anyway, it was a little wild because it was so much drama in the band. Drama. There always is. Can they, they've got a tour with Toto coming up. They got to get their stuff together. It's not uncommon, the Eagles being the best example, for a band to have separate limousines. I mean, it happens all the time now, whether they get along or not, because they have their entourage with them, their wives. Joseph Friesa, there's a lot back and forth with Hart. Well, we have an interview coming up with Michael DeRosier, who basically says, I don't think Ann Wilson understands what it's like to be in a band. I don't think she works well with the band setup. And I don't, this is no disrespect to Ann, but when you're doing this sort of interview stuff, you ask a question, and God knows I've tried to get an interview with Ann Wilson over and over again. I felt like I was getting the runaround. And I think I didn't get the interview because I talked to the Fisher brothers. I don't know. I've never had such a runaround in my life trying to get an interview. So I'm talking to her publicist and things like, okay, is she busy next week? Can we do it next week? How about next week? And then I went, after I did the interview with Roger Fisher, she played with him on stage. So I don't know. Maybe I got in the bad books because it talked about the drama with her and her sister. You always get this kind of stuff. I don't know why is it that we're hearing the drama because we have the internet now? I can come on live and talk to people all over the world, and any Joe can do the same thing, including the band members. I'm sure there was just as much drama before. I don't know. I don't. Fleetwood Mac and the Eagles not as much anymore, but Fleetwood Mac and Journey. Zuma Dog. Nancy Wilson is touring with a subpar band and a horrible lead singer. Anne's band sounds great. Anne's band does sound great. I haven't heard Nancy's in a while. But yeah, people want to see Anne and Nancy together. Nancy's heart is a disgrace. Nick Palumbo. The Storm was way better than the new lineup. Washed up. Journey. Miss you, Ross. Ross Valerie. Bat Minion. Ann Wilson has a hard time since the 70s. Hannistown Bill Moyer. Hall & Oates are my fave, and they're still touring. Hall's doing several solo shows now. Hall thinks Oates is too country as Oates lives in Nashville. Hall in England a lot of the time. Joseph Frieza. I saw Heart with both sisters. Yeah, I did too. It's the last concert I think I saw. And their drummer, oh yeah, Ben something. Ben Smith is his name. Nice guy. We have Ben Smith's drumsticks. Chase went to a... do I have it? Chase went to a... let me look. I can probably find it for you. A drum... before we went to the concert, Chase went to see Ben do a clinic. Ben was a little nervous. He said he hadn't done a clinic in a while. See if I can find you the picture. Excuse me. Hold on. It'd be cool if I could find it. And Ben gave Chase his drumsticks. Ben said, yeah, there it is. Oh, no. Focus, focus, focus. Focus. Oh, shit. There's Chase. I don't know how old he was with Ben. Yeah, Ben Smith. That's his name. Just double checked. Real nice guy. But Ben had said that the girls don't want drama, even though they have a lot of drama between themselves. Sisters sometimes do. A lot of competition. You know, Anne gets the spotlight. There's so many things going on with Anne. Just as an aside here, we've got Anne and Nancy Wilson. We've got what most people looked at Nancy as being the pretty blonde, right? But she was a secondary singer. Her voice was a lot weaker than her older sister. Her sister had this instrument, which was this voice, which was insane, one of the greatest rock voices of all time. I always was madly in love with Ann Wilson. Not the blonde. I thought she was cute. But to me, Anne was the queen of everything. And in high school, it was her and Olivia Newton-John. They knock on my door. I'm going, yes, I'll marry you in a second. But anyway, there you go. Shannon just asked me if I'm coming up. Hold on. This is what happens when you do a live broadcast. You got to talk to your wife. I'll be right up. Listen to the wife. Okay. I'd love to see an in-depth Ross Valerie interview. I should try. Transparent Media, Steve Smith doing stellar jazz work. Man, he's been doing that stuff for years. He's such an amazing... If you look at his drum workshop instructional videos, that guy is crazy. Nuts. Someone had said earlier they want me to do they'd like me to do a live broadcast every night. That's the thing. How do I say this? I don't always feel like doing that every night. Usually I'm busy editing videos, but in a perfect world, eventually this channel will basically be live videos every couple of nights. I'm 62. I'm not slowing down, but I want to spend more time with my family. So not anytime soon. Don't worry about that. Okay. Hannistown, Bill Moyer. The Rush guys want to do... without Neal Peart because he's gone, they want to do something together. Andy Curran, was one of the A&R guy, one of the reps for them, of course has his own band. he said that there's no way they're not going to work together again. And they've appeared off and on doing special things. So they'll do something else for sure. So, well, I have to... Live your life, Brian Jervis. Yeah, that's true. Okay, guys, I got to go. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for the donations tonight. If you ever want to contribute to this channel, you can join our Patreon, get early access. There's a lot of heart stuff on there right now. Early access to our videos, or you can just make a donation via PayPal. The links are in the description. This has been fun. I haven't been on because of the removing mole, and when they do that, I hate to get blunt, but blood rushes down, and that's what happened. I didn't get into a bar fight, promise. Or did I? Take care, guys. John Beaudin, Rock History Music.